In the news tonight, soldiers test positive, QEB under lockdown. Police clamp down on unnecessary movement. And high turnout at vaccination sites.
From the studios of FBC Suva, Edwin Nana.
Bulawanaka, Fiji. Queen Elizabeth Barracks in Namboa, Suva is in lockdown after 3 soldiers working at the barracks tested positive for COVID-19. Fiji now has 109 active cases in isolation. For more, we join Apanisa Wangairandovu live.
Edwin, we have recorded 10 new cases of COVID-19 since yesterday evening. 9 are contacts of earlier announced cases that were identified through ongoing contact tracing and screening investigation. This includes 3 cases from the Queen Elizabeth Barrack in Namboa, 1 from Tadirua, 3 from Monikoso, 1 from Kinoya, and 1 case from Navosai in Narere. The 10th case has not been linked to any other cases at this initial stage of investigation. He is a personnel of the Fiji Navy. He resides in Tadirua and had presented himself at the Nuffield Health Center in Tamavua with symptoms where he was swabbed and tested positive with the virus. Depending on current investigation, the Health Ministry may recommend extensions of health protection measures. The total number of cases recorded in Fiji since we recorded our first case in March last year is now at 248. We have had 135 recoveries and 4 deaths. Edwin.
Naka Panisa. Some families and individuals continue to take the COVID-19 situation lightly, prompting police to erect more checkpoints around the Central Division. People are now being turned back if they are found traveling with their family, including children, to go shopping. Kelly Vadala reports.
Some have been found out on a cruise around the capital, while others are packing the family into the car for a run to the supermarket.
Yeah, it's the proven fact now that people are moving, and that's why the virus is moving. It's known and it's already been relayed to us by the Ministry of Health. Minimize unnecessary travel that is currently undertaken within the containment zone so that we stay in our bubbles all the time.
Acting Commissioner of Police Risiati Tundravo says some Fijians continue to disregard COVID-19 protocols.
We have noted that there is a lot of families moving around, and I would like to again reiterate the change of attitude and minds of the member of public so that we know what is supposed to be done and assist the whole government approach that we are taking now.
Authorities warn that traveling in groups also results in unnecessary gatherings.
A lot of our current trouble does relate to breaching of social gathering, especially where there's informal contact. Some cases from a grog session.
Most Fijians in isolation have a wide travel history, and their movement has been linked to the spread of COVID-19. Kelly Vadala, FBC News.
Residents in the greater Nasinu and Nosoi areas turned up in numbers as vaccination drives started within the Suva-Nosoi containment zone, with numbers of people turning up at active sites, a large number of people turning up at sites. The Health Ministry also recorded a high uptake of the vaccine. Lina Rees reports.
Once you haven't received your numbers, make sure you maintain 2 meters.
With the Suva-Nosoi corridor registering the most numbers of positive cases, the rush to get vaccinated is even more evident in all centres.
Good response, and we're appreciating that because honestly the ultimate aim is because we want all Fijians, all personnel in Fiji to be protected. Eh? That's the ultimate aim of this whole vaccination drive that we're doing.
In light of restrictions and as they work to get as many people vaccinated, there has been significant amount of help from all government ministries as well as from ordinary Fijians.
Especially with crowd control, that's been really helpful. It's really nice to see people do the necessary do's like getting their masks, and where they have hand sanitizers that bring them along, or wash their hands on site or whatsoever.
Kinoya resident Nasoni Vono says the long queue and the wait to get the vaccination was worth it.
I just got my jab. It's just like a normal vaccination and I'm just about ready to head home. I came here today to support the government, as getting the vaccine is our way of helping the government recover economically.
The vaccination program continues today, and people are encouraged to visit the centres close to their homes. Lena Rees, FBC News.
Prime Minister Voreqe Bainimarama has paid tribute to all civil servants who've been involved in the front line of duty during the current COVID-19 outbreak. Almost the entire civil service machinery has been involved in some way or form, assisting the Health Ministry on a daily basis. Speaking in Parliament today, the Prime Minister says in these challenging times, civil servants have sacrificed a lot and deserve nothing but applaud. He goes on to say the civil servants have stepped up at a time when they've been needed the most by Fiji and her people.
Mr. Speaker, the civil service has been tremendous this past 4 weeks, maintaining community lockdowns, undertaking community screenings, distributing food rations, not just lending an ear, and providing assistance to their fellow Fiji citizens during this difficult time. To all our civil servants doing your country proud, I thank you.
29 Fijians stuck in Lautoka for more than a month now are hoping that borders open soon so they can return home. The 5 families are living with a relative in Natokowanga after a funeral last month before the lockdown. Felipe Naikaso has more.
The families have adapted well to ensure things run smoothly during their stay in Lautoka.
We have split the family members into 3, especially when we are at home, so that we can help each other during this tough time.
It hasn't been easy, but they're grateful for the assistance provided by Good Samaritans who have brought supplies. These families are from Rakiraki, Yasawa, Nanronga, and Vanuatu.
For many of us, we are experiencing life in the city for the first time, and it's not easy because you need to have money.
Through the difficult situation, they have learned to help one another.
Since we have been staying together for the past month, we have cared for each other.
For now, they're doing all they can to survive and support each other. Felipe Naikaso, FBC News.
Up ahead, prolonged lockdown hits West businesses and food packs for needy families. Welcome back. The prolonged containment in Nandi is causing extreme hardship for most businesses in the jet-set town, adding to the loss of income. Nandi Chamber of Commerce President Dr. Ram Raju says the micro, small and medium enterprises are hit the hardest. He adds that rumours are also fueling panic buying and only supermarkets are reaping the benefits. Dr. Raju is hoping there is some consideration to easing of restrictions to allow trading for other businesses in Nandi with strict COVID-19 measures. He says this will bring back trading, economic activities and money in the pockets of those in need. And our West reporter Felipe Naikaso has been in Lautoka today observing the situation in the city. He joins us live now. Felipe, how do things look in Lautoka?
Well, Edwin, thousands of Fijians are still without jobs here in Nandi. And while the situation isn't that good, there's a lot of good Samaritans that have gone out and have assisted Fijians living in these places. They've assisted them with food packs. They've also assisted them with basic food items. And that was very evident today in Natokowanga. 30 families were assisted, and they were assisted by the Commissioner Western's office, and they were also assisted by the Friend Fiji. And this is expected to continue over the next few weeks. And what the situation is like for Lautoka is the same for places like Nandi, Ba and the Western Division. It's sort of a calm situation, but the important note is that people should not be complacent about how the situation on the ground is, and to ensure that they continue to follow the COVID-19 restrictions that have been asked by the government.
It came as a relief for these residents, as many have been struggling to put food on the table during this pandemic.
We feel happy because we've been struggling a lot. We've been moving around and looking for something to feed our families. So today we are happy today.
For smaller families, the food rations given out today will last them for a month, but the harsh realities for bigger families is that the basic food items given out today will just last them only a week.
The assistance given today is of great benefit to my family and those families staying with us, since we are all facing hard times.
Assistance is also planned for other areas in the West in the coming days.
Especially those living in the informal settlement and without jobs right now.
So 4 weeks without a job it's really a struggle for them to put food on the table.
So far, 4,000 families in Lautoka and Nandi have been assisted through this initiative. Philip Naikaso, FBC News.
To other news quickly, the Ministry of Local Government is reviewing its policies to improve financial operations and human resource systems. This was revealed by Minister Premila Kumar in Parliament after Social Democratic Liberal Party leader William Ngavoka questioned the large turnover of chief executives and the municipal council elections. Kritika Kumar reports.
William Ngavoka says municipal councils should control their affairs and efficiently run towns and cities.
Who's in charge of the Governor Park in Ba? The stadium, Honorable Speaker, is a modern stadium, but grass is up to your waist. It's not being maintained.
Opposition whip Linda Tambuya believes the municipal elections need to be brought into the system.
Municipal council elections is needed in this country. We need municipal council elections brought back. Our people have the right to vote in who leads in their councils and who runs their municipalities, Honorable Speaker.
The local government minister says the chief executive recruitment is now based on certain skill sets.
And one of the KPI is the submission of annual reports in a timely manner. So these are some of the changes that has taken place at institutional level.
Kumar says the municipal councils have been directed to look at their organization structure as most of it is outdated. Kritika Kumar, FBC News.
The Fiji Police Force has warned of a surge in cases of obtaining financial advantage by deception. In the Western Division, there have been 13 cases so far this month, 10 in Lautoka, 1 in Nandi and 2 in Singatoka. So far, 5 people have been charged and produced in court. 6 reports are from people who paid between $160 to $600 for groceries, which were never delivered, while 3 paid for tires but failed to receive the goods. 2 reports involved victims who paid for taxi permits, with 1 paying about $2,000. Police are urging people to be careful when conducting transactions with others and to conduct background checks. The Fiji National University Student Association has slammed reports in the Fiji Times. The student body says the story titled NFP Wants Explanation, published yesterday, which claimed that 180 students at the FNU Natambua campus had not received food, was false. FNUSA President Ketan Lal says that all 180 students had been provided with free meals and food ration packs, including snacks. Meanwhile, NFP leader Professor Biman Prasad says this information in the Fiji Times article is based on accounts of Friends Fiji Chief Executive Sashi Kiran.
Even more disheartening to see the welfare of the students are being used as a political tool. I mean, I understand people are trying to help, but I mean, there are protocols, there are process to follow, no?
The Fiji Hotel and Tourism Association Marine and Yachting Subcommittee is seeking an amendment to the recent protocol changes for the Blue Lane Initiative. On May 14th, the COVID-19 Risk Management Task Force issued a statement outlining additional protocols. These includes all yachts, crew and passengers approved to enter Fiji only disembarking at the port of clearance. This means that no passenger or crew is allowed to disembark at any other port or maritime islands, including uninhabited ones. Subcommittee Chair Cynthia Rush confirms they have made requests for some amendments and they are awaiting a response. All yacht crews and passengers are also required to download the Care Fiji app and keep their Bluetooth on at all times. The task force says the change of the protocols will reinforce Fiji's containment efforts and will remain in place until further notice. Here are the exchange rates as set early this morning. The Fiji dollar strengthened against the Aussie and US dollar, along with the Japanese yen. Declines were noted against all other major currencies. The commodities market prices were mixed. Crude oil rose to above $65 a barrel. Gold dropped to $1,877 per ounce, and silver was up slightly to $27.66 per ounce. And we now join Sinifa from HFC Bank to give us the latest Aussie and Kiwi figures from the money markets.
Good evening. The US dollar drifted at the bottom of its recent range today. Softer than expected US data and fresh claims from Federal Reserve officials that policy would stay on hold calmed investor fears about inflation, forcing interest rates higher. Investors are heavily on short dollars in the belief that low US rates will drive cash abroad as the world recovers from the pandemic. They have become cautious of adding to positions after an April leap in inflation cast doubt on the policy outlook, but seem to find reassurance in data and US Federal remarks overnight. Later tonight is the German Business Survey, a series of US housing updates, and a handful of policymaker speeches in Europe, Britain, and the United States, which will all be analyzed for a reading on inflation. On Thursday, crucial US core consumer price data is due, while in the antipodes, the focus will also be on the Reserve Bank of New Zealand's Wednesday policy statement, with a risk that it may begin to anticipate rate rises. Overall, investors are interested in seeing fewer hurdles for US Federal's easy money and no plan for tapering to extend the risk on mood. Additionally, COVID headlines and China-related updates may also be watched. That's all from HFC Bank, Vinaka.
Fiji's agricultural production and supply hasn't been without any obstacles, with two back-to-back cyclones making landfall in the country earlier this year. However, the agricultural exports have been steadily increasing over the last 5 years. Jeshulal reports the agricultural sector has grown from $67 million in 2016 to $106 million in 2020, with a volume of growth of 16%.
Minister for Agriculture Dr. Mahendra Reddy says the devastating impact of the recent cyclones scaled up the demand for immediate recovery and rehabilitation in Fiji's agricultural sector.
We have been affected by COVID-19, and also we have been affected by several natural disasters, and we are quite resilient to natural disasters, particularly cyclones and flood.
We recognise the Cash for Cultivation program can facilitate recovery and rehabilitation and support communities to get back on their feet.
Minister Reddy says the ministry has designed the Cash for Cultivation initiative to respond to farmers' needs and sanction green growth amongst those who were severely affected during the recent cyclones.
We are trying to build resilience amongst our agriculture sector, particularly in the farm households, so that they are able to bounce back quickly from the shocks. Number two, they are able to, the damage from the shocks are minimal.
The Cash for Cultivation program contributes to food security of farm households and stimulates rural economy. Jeshulal, FBC News.
And that is the latest from my end. But coming up after the break, jobless youth turn to farming. Stay with us.
Welcome back. Marine protected areas in Fiji are showing signs of replenishment, and some fishing grounds are experiencing a drastic improvement in resources. Minister for Environment Dr. Mahendra Reddy, while launching Fiji's Biodiversity Hotspots documentary, says this positive sign has been noted across other MPAs. Koroi Tandulala reports.
The documentary focuses on marine protected areas, terrestrial protected areas, forest reserves, bat sanctuaries, and mangrove and coral restoration sites.
Previous studies had indicated that the marine resources were declining. through its community-based MPA, they are now able to protect their marine resource and have seen positive spillover effects of such protected areas with the Ngolingoli.
As part of the biodiversity restoration effort, the Ministry's Mangrove Nursery initiative serves a dual purpose, helping mitigate impacts of climate change.
A total of 600 mangrove seedlings were planted to help restore traditional fishing ground. The coastal erosion forces the village to venture out into deeper waters to catch fish, and the mangrove planting initiative comes with the hope that the mangroves will establish new fishing grounds while it helps to stop the erosion of the coastal areas.
Providing food, fodder, construction materials, and of course the all-important storage of carbon and mitigating climate change.
The ministry has formulated its sixth national report as required under Article 26 of the UN Convention on Biological Diversity. The report takes on stock of all achievements and actions in implementing biodiversity targets. Corey Tandulala, FBC News.
Members of a farming garden youth club in Davui Levu are investing in dalo, cassava, fruits and vegetable farming for sustenance. Youth leader Micah Kalo says the members have lost their jobs amid the impact of COVID-19. Details with Jose Nanunga.
Starting off the day at 7 a.m., these active youth members have made it their business to at least plant 50 yams, cassava, dalo and vegetables on their given piece of land on a daily basis.
We just started farming now, so we're looking forward to the harvesting time. Some of our harvest will go for our family use, and some we will sell to buy our bread and butter. That's what we are looking forward in our next year.
Going from office work to swinging the knife on the farm, these youth are enjoying their time and have no regrets about being laid off from their respective workplaces.
Work together during this pandemic, stop roaming around and do some useful things in life and help mom and dad, brothers and sisters while you're at home.
Club member Savu Bagatawayavu says being a farmer requires commitment and dedication.
Some members have lost their jobs amidst the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Club members are practicing the social Vaccination initiative or communalism to strengthen the relationship in the Davui Levu area.
Young people in the area have been encouraged to actively participate in the Solsolvaki initiative to keep them engaged. This will stop them from getting involved in criminal activities. Jose Nanunga, FBC News.
The University of the South Pacific's Director for Flexible Learning, Dr. Rajni Chand, has been appointed the new regional focus point on quality for the International Council for Open and Distance Education. The council is a global community made up of leaders and professionals in the field of open, flexible and distance learning at all levels. As the focal point on quality from Oceania, Dr. Chand will actively promote inclusive, affordable and access to quality education within the Pacific region. She says her appointment will further highlight USP's expertise in distance and flexible learning to the world. And time now to join Jamie for the latest in sports.
Manaka, and good evening in sports tonight. Fasenok encourages athletes to remain physically active in isolation. The Fiji Association of Sports and National Olympic Committee has called on sporting federations in the country to be innovative during these times as there's uncertainty on when competitions will resume. With all competitions forced to cease early in April, most federations like weightlifting have taken the initiative to conduct virtual training sessions. Vinina Rakautonga with this report.
This will not be a sight to see for a while, but the sport's governing body has encouraged continued physical activity for athletes.
Playing your sport may not be possible, but to be doing some kind of physical activity during the day, and not just staying in the house.
FESNOC CEO Lorraine Ma says this will affect sports in Fiji, but nothing can be done about it.
A lot of the cases that are now the community cases that are happening are really through gatherings and contacts of people, and so we can't expect to be, pushing for our sports to be starting again until all.
One federation that has taken the initiative is Weightlifting Fiji. Coach Henry Elder says the lifters are now preparing for an Oceania virtual event.
It's a competition where the home countries run their own competition. We run our own competition. We submit footage and results to the Oceania group.
If everything goes to normal by August, Weightlifting Fiji is looking at sending a team to the Oceania Weightlifting Championship in Nauru. Venina Rakautonga, FBC Sports.
The announcement of the Fijian Brewers' inclusion in the 2022 Super Rugby competition has pulled in interest of many overseas-based players, including US-based Tevita Nangali. The lanky 27-year-old has indicated that he will be available to represent Fiji if and when needed. Fiji-born winger Simisi Mashirewa has been named in Japan's squad that will face the British and Irish Lions in Edinburgh next month. A day after receiving the Premier League trophy, Manchester City were back on the training ground ahead of their European Champions League final against Chelsea on Sunday. And for their 20-year-old playmaker Phil Foden, the last few months have been a dream come true. That's it from Sports Tonight. Coming up in Weird and Wonderful, a chance to win a professional dream interpretation. Find out more after the break.
Cloudy conditions with showers were experienced over most places, including Vanua Levu, Tavyuni, the eastern and interior parts of Viti Levu, Lau and Lomai Viti group. Elsewhere, cloudy with isolated brief showers. In the west, cloudy with some showers and afternoon or evening thunderstorms likely with possible heavy falls. Eastwards, from Pacific Harbour to Suva, some showers with isolated afternoon or evening thunderstorms and showers becoming frequent later tonight. In the north, similar conditions will prevail. At sea, southerly winds 10 to 15 knots, gusting to 20 knots, moderate seas, heavy to damaging heavy swells with heights of up to 4 meters. The next high tide is at 5:48 a.m. tomorrow, with low tide at 11:52 a.m. Sunrise is at 6:31. The outlook for tomorrow: occasional showers with isolated thunderstorms over Vanua Levu, Tavyuni, the eastern and interior parts of Viti Levu, Lau and Lomai Viti group. Elsewhere, some showers with afternoon or evening thunderstorms. And for Thursday, cloudy periods with some showers and possible afternoon or evening thunderstorms over the eastern parts and interior of Viti Levu, Vanua Levu, Tavyuni, Kandavu, Lau and Lomai Viti group. Elsewhere, cloudy periods with afternoon or evening showers. And recapping our main stories, 3 soldiers and a Navy officer among 10 new cases. QEB in Nambua goes into lockdown and police clamp down on unnecessary movement. For these stories and others, you can tune in daily to our sister radio station Gold FM. To our poll question, this week we are asking, do you think Fijians are abiding by restrictions to curb the spread of COVID-19? Visit our FBC News website to answer. You can also send us newsworthy pictures and videos. Email fbcnews@fbc.com.fj or share it with us via our various social media accounts. You can also download our FBC app to keep updated with the very latest in news and sports and listen to our 6 radio stations live. That's your news this evening. I'll see you again tomorrow. Until then, stay safe. Modemanda.